Hello, our Kyber Cave friends. How are you?
Hello, and welcome back from Hawaii, Miss Mez.
Thank you. Yes, I had a splendid time. We did a lot of fun things. Like my children and I, along with my husband, we tried bamboo pole fishing,
Wow.
which
Okay.
was fun, and it's catch and release. And then we also, my oldest had a great time because they were doing like feeding of some birds, and he had about 9 birds sitting on him all at once. And he had fun. Hi, so long. Yes, Mezzo is back. I'm
In the
jet lagged,
house.
but I'm back. I'll be fine in a day or two, hopefully, because we didn't get home until 12:30 a.m. this morning, and then I woke up at 6:30 a.m. for church. And the reason I even woke up earlier than I normally kind of do is like I had to make breakfast and stuff like that. And so it was just early, and I crashed when I got home from lunch. We go to church and we go to lunch out together afterwards, and I was so tired. I was like, I got a nap because I am a cranky. Like if Mensa does not sleep well or doesn't get enough sleep, I am cranky. I try my best, but it's hard for me to like regulate my emotions, and I get overwhelmed and I get really cranky. And so I was like, I'm gonna take a nap when I get home because I need it. And I think it took about
Well,
like a 45-minute hour or 10-hour nap kind of.
boo.
I set an alarm so I could wake up in time and prepare for the show properly. So,
Well,
but I'm
we are
back.
happy to have you back. We had fun with Graveyard last week. Graveyard, of course, always a fantastic
Yes.
help, but it is
I did
always to
stop
see
by
you
and
back
said
on your home
hi.
show.
Yes.
Was that?
I did stop by and like I say hi as much as I could for the shows during the week, but there were times in Hawaii where they don't have cell towers, and so it's just there's no reception like whatsoever.
Right, right, right.
All right, but
And
I want to
you
tell.
have
Oh yeah, go ahead.
other exciting news. Another thing that starts this week, right?
Yes, that's what I was just about to mention. My camera's out of
Oh,
focus. It feels like is my camera out of
oh,
focus?
Didi.
It
I
looks
can't
like
tell
it's
because
out of.
my eyes are out of focus.
Mm, yes, there we
What's
go.
up, James?
All right,
James
so
Distance Learning.
this is nerding with Aloha. So this Tuesday, Metso here starts streaming again on her personal Twitch channel. So if you want to check it out, I'll be on here on Tuesdays and Fridays on my Twitch at MetsoJD. So tune into that because I'm very excited. I have a lot to work to get done. How's it, bra? The reason I have so much work to do is I actually had all of my stuff prepped, and then like a month early, and then a few weeks ago I had to wipe my computer and I have to redo it
Oh,
all.
oh,
It's okay, it's something I enjoy doing too, like prepping for that. Maybe it'll just since I had to redo it, I'll have it fresher in my mind, like when I get it
right, right.
having it
And you'll
prepared.
find a new direction, a new angle.
Yeah. No, I already everything's ready pretty much except for those couple of things, which is like 30 things in each thing.
Right, of course.
But that is what it is. And also Mezzo here was also like right before leaving last week. Hi, Mr. Berger. You'll see. Yeah, there he is. I was hired to make movie posters for an independent horror movie production company.
Yes.
And I sent them over last week and they liked them a lot. And I'm waiting for permission to be able to share them. So I can't share them just yet. I can't like post them and stuff. I'm waiting for the permission first. James,
Right.
I love how this show, Kyber Cave, is inspiring all the peeps to be creative. Love it. Yes, it is inspiring. I streamed on my personal channel for like 2.5 years, and then I stopped due to family stuff. And I was kind of like, I had thought about returning. I hadn't really thought about it yet. And all of a sudden, I have a message from my friend who's the manager at Kyber Cave saying, "Hey, do you know anyone who knows how to edit and has experience in streaming?" And I'm like, "What do you want?" And then I joined KCP. And so I feel like I've reached a balance where I want
It
to
was
come back.
more. It was less joining than being sucked into.
Yeah, I kind of got stepped into it. And but I'm very happy I did. And I feel like I miss my community that I had first started with Twitch. I miss those people a lot. And I feel like I would just want to come back to it. And so I've announced like in June that I was planning to come back in a few months. And the only reason I waited so long was because of the Hawaii trip. I didn't want to come back for like a month and a half and then have to leave.
Right.
I just felt like I would get myself out of the rhythm. And at this moment, there are no trips planned for any time in the near future. So I'll be here for a while, guys.
And I mean, it's good timing too, because for those of you that have been hanging out with KCP here for a while, we have a lot that's going to be happening in the next, say, month and a half or so. New shows, new timing, things are going to be moving around. On top of the fact that Metz has her Twitch stream, which we encourage you all, make sure to check out Distance Nerding. You get Frey and Graveyard are over on Distance Nerding, as well as Graveyard does his own podcast called They Mostly Pod Out at Night. And doesn't Frey have a new thing too?
Yeah, I'm posting the links as we speak.
So all of our hosts, John on Hearts of Kyber, he does another channel called The Billy TVs. And Aubrey is on 4 or 5 of the shows, and she's about to have her own new show. So make sure to stick around. We didn't tell you too, but I was waiting till you got home from Hawaii, Mets, but Anthony and I are planning some shenanigans as well.
Oh no.
We want to do a show called Unpopular Opinion.
That sounds like an after dark. Say Wong, yay, the show can thrive now that Mezzo has returned. I appreciate that, but they do just fine holding the fort while I'm gone. Okay, and Mezzo's still here, still does the majority of the editing when I'm gone too. I still edited as much as I could before I left. Actually, everything was edited before I left. Graveyard did the nerdy news. That was his portion.
Even when she's gone, she's still here.
I'm still around. I'm sorry, you can't get rid of me so easily.
We don't want to.
All right.
And as you can see, the links are up. Matt's put them on the side. Make sure to check out. These are some of the other shows that our good friends that are hosts here at Kyber Cave Productions, they do their own shows apart from KCP. So make sure to check out all that goodness. Especially if, you can't get much funnier than Frey. If you ever watch Frey on Distance Nerding or on Saturday Morning Nerd Out, she's just so quick and witty with her comments.
She's quick, witty, and she has so much knowledge of like Star Wars, and
especially
Marvel,
like comic book lore.
Yeah, she's so knowledgeable. So if you guys go check out her stuff, I put up her TikTok and her YouTube because she talks about stuff on both. And yeah, that's really cool. And so guys, last Friday, Force came back to the channel. Woo-hoo! We are very excited. He's returned. He worked really hard on getting things prepped for that to make it really cool. He also has some sound effects available on saberfont.com, which I'm posting the link to that as well. So check that out. And Miss Aubrey, you guys might not know, she writes music and she's pretty darn good at it. So if you'd like to check out her stuff, I've also entered her Spotify links into the chat. And now there's a link stampede in the chat. But don't forget to check out other shows if you want information about them. They're in the description below. Now, moving on finally to our first topic, y'all. It's the nerdy news. I forgot to put on the music. I'm so out of practice. There
we go. It's not the same without music.
I know it's not the same without it. Your nerdy news with Mezzo. First of all, director Michael Giacchino talks colorizing Werewolf by Night. So if you haven't seen it, Werewolf by Night was a Marvel, like a short kind of, it's a 1 episode kind of thing. And it was in black and white and it colorized like at the end. But a year later, he's now releasing the colorized version of it. So it would Van needs his new helmet sitting behind him. He will get it soon. Not a worry. I'm sure he'll bring that up when he gets it. So if you guys want to a whole interview with him about it, in the description below, there's a link to the website, to that article for the interview. I think it's really interesting because I watched it originally and I knew there were some kind of mixed feelings about it when it came to like it being part of the MCU in a sense.
Right.
There are some like little things like this that when it comes to fitting into the MCU, if you're not like aware of comics and stuff or know much about them, that it doesn't feel like it fits in quite right. It doesn't have the same feeling. I really enjoyed it, even if it wasn't part of it. Like if it was a standalone thing, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Hi, Kevin.
Well, I think it's it's leading into this new when Marvel's talking about its upcoming phases, phase 5, 6, 7 going on. One of the things that they're talking about is the monsters, bringing in monsters and mythical. So that's why we started seeing Moon Knight. Blade is going to be a character that's coming back. So we're going to see a lot more the mythology side of
Yeah.
Marvel.
And James is
what
right.
I
Marvel
thought
special presentation. Yeah.
what I thought was interesting about that announcement was, and I know it's a little bit different now because I know uh, um, Winter Soldier and Falcon, when they did their show, there was blood in that episode, and up
Mm-hmm.
until that time, that was like a really big deal for Marvel, was to show blood. But I remember one of the special things about Werewolf by Night was because it was in black and white, they could make it more glory and more bloody because there was some
Without,
kind of
yeah.
rule about it, whether the blood was in color and how much they could show.
Okay.
So
I mean, that makes sense. And it's like, if you guys ever want to see really interesting examples, there's a YouTube channel called Corridor Crew. They're visual effects artists, and they actually took some of, I think it was Captain America or one of the Marvel movies, and they made a fight scene R-rated. They do that with different movies and shows and stuff like that. They'll make a section of it where it's like more realistic.
Right.
Like Cap's shield would likely slice somebody in half, not just hit them. If you threw it, like flat hit them, because it's vibranium. So anyway, I thought it was really interesting. So you guys want to check that out, check it below. I don't know why some people would be like worried about mythical stuff being brought in, because Thor, I mean, yeah, that enough said. All right, so next thing on our nerdy news is how the ILM model shop brought Ahsoka's T6 Jedi shuttle to life. Now, if you don't know who ILM is and you watch a lot of like the modern stuff, then you might be sleeping under a rock. I'm not sure. ILM, you know, they're the visual effects artists behind things like Ahsoka series, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, Marvels, you know, so many recent new movies. They're like a lot of it behind the visual effects of those. ILM is pretty incredible. Actually, that Corridor Crew actually has people from ILM that appear on their show that talk about things they've made and how it was made and how difficult some of the scenes were to put together. So I thought that was really cool. And if you want an article about that, it is in the description below, and you can find out more information on how ILM brought that to life.
Excellent. And I have a quick piece of nerdy news. If any of you follow me personally, you have seen my adventures to try to get a certain helmet. There is a really big deal going across the country right now. All these bargain stores, I guess it's a store in the Mid-East and on the East Coast. They are having helmets. They have Trapper Wolf, which some of you may know is Dave Filoni when in the Mandalorian series. They have Trapper Wolf helmets for $30, which I don't know how much they cost in other parts, but out here, the helmet series tend to be about 110 or more for any of the different helmets if you want Luke Skywalker. So being able to get a Trapper Wolf helmet for $30 is an absolute incredible deal. And I've heard that a lot of stores like literally been selling out right away. So if you live near an Ollie's, make sure to go get one, get 2 or 3, and you could probably sell those off.
Salon just said Mark Hamill autographs for the Fan Expo have been sold out. I did see that. I thought I saw something saying they'll let you know if they can do more, but at the moment it's sold out. So I don't expect that necessarily to open up.
Mez, do you know how much his autograph is going for and it's sold out?
$560. I have no idea.
Not quite that much. $400.
That's still a lot.
It's sold out.
Yeah. And then Mechburger said average $130 for that helmet.
$130.
Yeah,
right?
Sounds about right. I just bought a new keyboard for like $45. A lot of my extra money goes to supporting other creators and upgrading my setup and having it something that I either like or that will make it better for my viewers at home. That's what I work on when it comes to my extra cash. All right, so moving on, guys. James Kaiser is our producer for Flow of the Show. Every week he submits a video with the flow of the show. It is a movement artist, so to speak, whether it be saber spinning, which this one is with saber tonight. Christian Castro is our flow tonight, and he was actually our guest recently. But there's also
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's also gloving, there's fire dancing, so many different types of flow. So it's not strictly saber related, but we always love it when we get a saber one. So without further ado, please enjoy Christian Castro. Thank you, James Kaiser,
Ooh.
for giving us that flow. Yes, that saber looks pretty incredible. If you want to check out the actual saber itself, you go to Saberflux Workshop. If you want to just visit one of our previous episodes with Christian Castro, you can see the information to visit the Saberflux Workshop site. It kind of reminds me of the dark saber with the black middle and the
Well, I was just
outside
going to
white.
tell you that blade he's using on there. He can hopefully correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that blade is one that Saberflux Workshop sells. I believe
Okay.
that blade is sold by a company called Mystic Knights.
Gotcha.
And what they've done is so cool. They did it. They recently put out a Thundercats one to go with along
Oh,
with the
okay.
Thundercat saber. But what it is, it's got a real metal inside, and then just the
Mhm.
very tip on the outside is neopixel, so that it's metal, so it looks like a real sword, but it's got that line on the
That's
outside of
really,
neopixel.
really neat. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it looks
really
super
cool.
super cool.
It looked really slick. I saw the whole like the metal looked like inscribed and stuff like that. So that was pretty, or engraved, I guess you could call it. But it
And
looked
you
really,
can,
really
as
neat.
you may or may not know, that changes the balance of that too. So for him to be able to
Yeah.
do that with a plastic blade, a blade as opposed to and a metal blade is absolutely amazing. So Christian
Yeah.
Castro.
Anything we do with blades, if you like change what it's made of, if you add anything to it, it's going to affect the weight and the balance. Now, I have a quick question, and I've never seen long handles like that in Star Wars. That's strictly like the design for like real world, like now kind of stuff that I've seen most recently. Correct? It's not a Star Wars related specific hilt
Right. What's up, Duran
or
Duran?
anything.
So that's actually a very good question. Right now, in the current Ahsoka series, Balin Skull, his saber is renowned as being one of the longest sabers in Star Wars because it's more of a two-handed saber, kind of like Hema weapons. In Star Wars, you don't typically see sabers that long. You also saw Darth Maul when he had his double-sided, but only lit up one side. However, if you are doing flow or doing things around your body, it's really nice to have that long bar, so that way, the saber, the hilt is spinning on your back as opposed to the
Yeah,
blade.
versus like because if it was a real saber, you
Right,
know.
right, 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 right.
And then Tim Cool Java, who was our guest tonight, made a hilarious comment. That's why you see me snickering in the background. And he can feel free to share that. I don't want to just say stuff that he says, but I'm sitting here like giggling, like chuckling underneath my breath. But yeah, so the long handles I was kind of curious about because I've seen that. Like, I mean, even though I've been on the show for like almost a year and a half, this month
Right.
will be a year and a half.
Wow.
I know it's crazy to think about. I still feel like I'm still so new to Kim's the Saber community. So the long handles are something I had never seen before I joined the show. And so I
And
was
it's
like,
evolving.
yeah, and I was like, so is that something I've never saw that in Star Wars? So I was like, is that just a saber, like a spinner, like fancier saber things that's made nowadays? Nothing that was necessarily Star Wars related. So that's
Right.
why I wanted to
And
ask that question.
if you were to go back and rewatch that, because I think right at the very beginning he does like this long pan shot where he's
Yeah.
showing his whole saber. You'll notice at the pommel at the bottom there's a big round ball,
Yes, I did see
and
that.
that ball is actually a counterweight to give
Okay.
him proper balance on his saber.
Yeah, and Tim made a comment in our private chat that's becoming more of like a katana sword, which is correct. It has that long, it's getting like longer and longer, and it does help. Yeah, the bulbous bottom for that counterweight, which helps kind of with spinning because if it's not balanced right for you to spin, it's just not going to spin the way you want it.
Right, because
I may know the science behind some of it, but not that I can do any of it.
the typical saber, your balance and your weight is going to be just beyond the blade. It's going to be right about here. That's where you'll find about the halfway the balance point. On his saber, he's going to find it right near the middle of the saber because he wants to be able to spin that on the middle of his
Yeah.
back or
Yeah.
different parts of his
And
arm.
so like if when you spin, and it shows a lot with the spinner, like with the saber artists that when they have different sabers, they use how they have to adjust how they spin a certain saber too. All right,
exactly.
sir.
Hey,
It's
really
time.
quickly before we go
Yes.
into our incredible artists, I want to remind people we are only 39 people away from our next giveaway. And our next giveaway, we're going to be at 1,500 subscribers. We're slowly moving up in the world. And we are giving away a NeoPixel on this next giveaway. Not sure which one it is, but it'll be a saber valued somewhere between $400 and $600.
Yes, which is very exciting to think about. I'll watch and just dream.
Me too. So yeah, so please like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please put a like on this video right now. You would not realize how much a simple like will
Yes, it
help.
does.
It'll help get this show into the algorithm and let more people know about the show.
Yes, absolutely.
All righty, are we ready to talk to our main guest for tonight?
I believe so.
I didn't even go to look at his comment because I wanted to like save it and hear what he had to say. You have it all built.
Right.
Our guest for tonight. This is not his first time on our show. I think it's been more than a year since we've had him. I don't remember what episode.
He's not been. I don't think he's been on since I was on. I don't think so. It's been a while.
It has been a while. He is a relatively local, if you live out here in Northern California, so you may see him at a few of the conventions. One of the most loved of the people that we've had come on this show. He is, as a little piece of trivia here, he is the youngest cast member of anybody in A New Hope. So if you watch that very first 1977 movie, he is the very youngest member. Please give it up for the cool Jawa himself, Mr. Tim Donaldson.
What's going on?
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited to have you here. I know you're just rushing home from work.
Yeah.
People would be surprised to know you have a regular life, just like some of us other heathens out here.
Yeah, I just finished a double shift too, so.
Ooh, so we're really lucky for you to have you on with us.
It's all good.
How's it been, my friend?
Good. It's been a rough year. You know some about that, and
right.
Just taking it day by day, and looking at the good side as opposed to the bad side. So
right.
We're doing good.
That's definitely good advice. I appreciate that. How is we're coming out another. I want to say the last time I talked to you, I believe we were in COVID or just coming out of COVID. I know it was a really long time ago because I know you had shut down kind of your tour schedule because you were concerned about meeting too many people or being that many people being packed in together. Are you doing any shows or getting out and meeting people now?
Well, yeah, I am, and I think the last time was your Kyber Con just earlier this year, wasn't it?
That's right.
Year.
I totally
just last year. Yeah.
That's right. We did have you on before KyberCon, and you were at KyberCon, obviously.
Yeah.
So have you been doing a lot of other shows besides stuff that's local, or have you been touring at all?
I don't do a lot. So I did your show, which was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and I went to Germany, and those are the only two shows I've done. So
how was Germany?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. The convention was amazing. The people were amazing. The food was off the charts. I really, really had a great time.
And for that one, there was a bunch of a variety of Star Wars.
People, quite a few Mandalorians. A lot of Return of the Jedi, and a few of us from A New Hope. But not many. But it was a great show. It was a lot of fun. It was Power of the Force Con. They're getting ready. They're setting their next one up now. So it's I'd love to go back. It's I had an amazing time. I went over early and I stayed a couple of days later and I rode around the city of Cologne on a scooter the whole time and just stopped at every beer house and it was fun. It was a good time. It was beautiful.
Did your family get to go with you, or were you by yourself?
Unfortunately, I went by myself. Amy's set up to have a knee surgery, and so her mobility's kind of tough. And if any of you have ever been to Europe, it's just nothing but walking and stairs, and And so we decided to, hang on to a European trip to after she's had her surgery, and she's back to healthy. So
Right. Now on that one, I can't remember 100%. I believe C. Andrew Nelson also went out to that one, didn't he? To the Germany
no, Alan Fernandez.
Alan did. Okay.
Alan and I went out there.
Okay, so my next question was going to be, did you have anybody that you kind of knew, or was, were you thrust into this room with all these other Star Wars actors, but you didn't really know a lot of them?
I knew, of course, I know Alan very, very well. He's local here, and we actually kind of came on the scene about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then several other people I knew from social media, and Katie Purvis was one of them, and she's just a wonderful person, and then I've worked with other people. I've worked with Misty Rosas before, and
Nice.
yeah, it was just a lot of fun. The Star Wars community, it's kind of a funny thing that I've learned about is even though my part was small, no pun intended about a Jawa, but it was a long time ago. It was 1977, and that's the only work I've ever done in film. It's still, all these actors and actresses, they welcome me in with open arms. I remember, oh gosh, I'm you have to forgive me. I'm pretty tired, but I'm going to tell a story here, but I have to Google something first. But it's always been absolutely, a fantastic experience with other actors. I remember I was down in Capitolicon. We were down there together.
Yeah.
And Emily Swallow's down there, and she was, I think, probably one of the biggest names. I think she was. I mean, for
right.
me,
She was the
anyway,
armorer.
Yeah, the armorer in the Mandalorian, and Amy and I were coming out of the elevator of the hotel, and she was checking in, and I just wanted to say hi. It's and be friendly, and so I introduced myself, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me into the family." And
wow.
It's just like it's kind of surreal that I was there at the beginning of this massive thing,
right?
And it's pretty special that I've got that as part of my life.
You're in this batch, and then there's a question here for you. It says, "I wonder, was Tim the Jawa that shot R2 in A New Hope?" I'll go ahead and let you answer that, and then I have a comment.
Yeah, no, that was actually Jack Purvis, who's passed away. Katie Purvis is his daughter, and we actually had a special moment, or conversations, because I had a connection with her father,
mm-hmm.
That was pretty special, and. But no, I am in the scene where R2-D2 gets shot. It's when he falls over, we run down and pick him up. And because I was the ripe age of 5 years old, I'm the smallest one. Everybody else was a year or two older than I was. So,
right. I find it interesting, with the show, I've gotten to talk to a few different people, and you and like Alan Fernandez. Fall into this group of what I would call accidental movie stars, meaning like, you weren't,
a good way
it's
to
not
put
like you were an actor that was trying out for the part or something. You just kind of happened to be the right person at the right time.
Right.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's exactly how it happened. I mean, my audition literally was being measured for height by George Lucas and his crew.
Right. Does it intimidate you at all when you walk into a room with, maybe some of the more known characters or celebrities when you go to events like the Germany event?
A little bit. It's interesting. especially in Germany, I found that I bonded with the people that were helping out at the convention more than I did the stars. My era of Star Wars, the individuals are a lot older than I am.
Right.
And so, we don't have a whole lot to talk about. And the folks, there was kind of this Mandalorian clique, and, they all knew each other because they've been on set,
Right.
and I didn't, I kind of felt like I didn't fit in. I'll talk to them.
Right.
But, like I got to know Dorian Kinji really well, Cad Bane.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and we had a lot of great conversations. But it's always funny, he asked me what other films I'd done, and I told him this was the only one. It's all I ever did, and I told him the story of I just how I grew up in the national parks.
Right.
It wasn't a part of something I thought you would do. Where his childhood growing up, he grew up on the back sets of film and TVs. His mom, I don't know if you know this, is Lindsay Wagner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and yeah, so he was like, yeah, I've been going to conventions since like 1984 with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, geez, I didn't even know these things really existed, as far as autographs and stuff, until like 2017, 2018.
Right.
So it's just interesting.
Right. And you have, for those that may or may not know, you have kind of an interesting story on how you found out about this. Because if I recall correctly, you kind of found out by accident when people started just sending you stuff randomly to autograph, correct?
Well, yeah, I was so. It's not a story that I really told all that much. Of course, I did as a kid, and nobody believed me because I'm not in the credits. I was just an extra,
Right.
and so it kind of got to a point where I really didn't tell people unless we were really close, and but I have this picture of myself as a Jawa that my sister took on set, and I post that on my page every May the 4th, as my cover photo. Just like, I mean, what else are you gonna do, right?
Right.
And through Facebook, I was contacted by autograph collectors, and that's kind of how it started. And that was in 2017. And the interesting thing about that is that came from an article that was written out of Death Valley. My wife Amy and I, we'd gone to Death Valley. We were passing through and decided to stop and camp there a couple of nights, and I wanted to go see the areas because I hadn't been back there in like 38 years or something.
Right.
And so at the visitor center, we asked where the scenes works. I didn't remember, and they kind of got a quizzical look, like, oh, great, another Star Wars nut,
Right.
And I said, well, yeah, it was one of the kids that was cast as a Jawa. And they're like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And they actually brought out their historian for the park. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize it, but she wrote an article, and it was about movies in the national parks and Star Wars being highlighted, because there's a couple of different scenes between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And that article actually now lives in the Obama White House archives in the Library of Congress. And it was from that article that these collectors said, oh my gosh, here's somebody that we just really had no idea existed.
Right.
And that's how I was contacted.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Does it ever, I mean, because I guess you're one of the lucky people in that, your face is kind of hidden, so you can walk down the street and, kind of hide away if you wanted to. Does it ever cross over? Has anybody ever asked you? Well, I guess you don't really see your face, so people wouldn't really know unless they knew, I guess. Never mind. That was a bad question.
Well, I can say that I've only been recognized, quote unquote, on the streets due to this one time, and that was after a convention called Empire Con down in LA, and the day after we went to Disneyland, and I was wearing my cool Jawa shirt, and it was just from that, but it wasn't like, somebody randomly in a store. I've never been recognized like that.
All right. Are you still a Star Wars fan? Are you watching like the Ahsoka series?
Oh my gosh, yes. Come on, man. What kind of question is that? Of course I'm watching.
James asked, has anyone ever asked if you were too short for a Jawa? That's James at Distance Nerding.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, James. The common thing is when I'm at conventions, they're I thought you'd be shorter. Well, I was 5 years old. I was, the perfect height, but yeah, I'm probably literally the tallest Jawa out there right now at 6 foot. So I keep
Are there
hoping.
many of you left that you know of from the original A New Hope as far as the Jawas?
Well, with the Death Valley ones, we know. Well, there's 3 of us that are quasi active. Myself, Andrea Wickman Miller, and Joe Weber have done conventions. And then we know that one has passed from the original 8. I'm pretty sure we know where a couple of the others are, but they're very reclusive people, and really just are not interested in being on any kind of limelight, which I respect. Right. And then there's 2 out there that we just have no idea, and that's from the original Death Valley Jawas. And then you have Fraser and Warwick Diamond, Simon Henderson, which were all like Elstree Studios and a little bit of Tunisia. The Diamond brothers were in Tunisia a little bit. And then Melissa Kurtz, I think it's Melissa, or is it? Oh, it's Tiffany. Tiffany Kurtz is out there as well, but I don't know if she's done any conventions, but we're friends on Facebook, so
that's great. Would you I realize that acting is not necessarily your main thing, but if you were asked to be brought back, would you ever do another Star Wars project again?
I send Dave Filoni an email every week. Come on, man, make me a cameo. He loves those Easter eggs, and I always secretly hope that he would want to pick me up and put me in a corner somewhere,
All right. He lives somewhere here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, exactly. I know. He doesn't answer my emails though. I'm not that high on the list.
What are you do you have anything lined up for this year, or?
No, I'm actually done for the year. I pretty much, because I'm very busy with my work, and my work just so happens that my days off are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, wow.
So going to shows, I have to take time off of work, and it's just, at this point in my life, I think, 1 or 2 shows I'll do, maybe one travel show a year, and then a couple local if I can get to them, like I did your show. Right. But that's kind of about where we keep it, right now. And, we've always kind of talked about, maybe in retirement, when I get to that point, then we could kind of ramp up doing some of the shows and traveling around. It's a very interesting thing. I know that C. Andrew Nelson and Alan Fernandez, I think they're doing, probably a show every weekend if they wanted to. It's pretty close to that. And I think that in the future I might ramp things up, but at this time we're happy doing it. And I always try and get out there with Andrea. Her and I are kind of a team, and she's also very busy. She has young kids, so it's just
Right.
we'll get there. We got a lot of time left.
Do you enjoy meeting like the fans or the people that because I'm sure there's people that
absolutely love
absolutely
it.
gush over you.
It's so cool, so cool. It blows me away, to be honest. It's one of those things that's like, geez, I have to pinch myself, like having people, and I've had it before where people have been lined up to see me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then like in Germany, there was one lady, and she just was just like a massive Jawa fan. And there's so many of them out there that are just like, oh, my favorite character is the Jawa. It's the Jawa. And the funny thing about that is because as we were kids, people were like, oh, that could have been me. I could have done that,
Right.
And I just happened to be one of the ones that did. But anyway, this gal in Germany, she brought to me this scene from Tatooine that was she hand carved it out of wood.
Wow.
And it was kind of like those what are those toys on is it Batu?
Mm-hmm.
That they carve and would sell,
right,
on Batu, and it was somewhat in that style. It was just absolutely amazing. But I see things like that all the time. If somebody's cosplaying Jawa, I have to get a picture with them. I just think it's the coolest things, especially the kids. And at my conventions, or the conventions I go to, I take stickers, and like every kid gets a sticker. Like, this is
right.
It's the coolest thing ever. But I love to tell my story. I think it's really amazing that people actually want to listen to it now. Or I've found the right people to listen to it now, and I'm blessed. It's absolutely amazing.
That is fantastic. Next year in 2023, Celebration is going to be in Japan. If they asked you to come out to that, would you fly out to Japan for that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I don't. It's funny. Celebration's an interesting thing. That was definitely a bucket list item for me. I kind of, when I first started doing this,
I just went to the LA one last time, right? Or the last LA one?
Well, I was on the outside of it. I wasn't officially invited. The thing is I love interactions of a convention. I love, people walking by, whether they want an autograph from me or not.
Right.
I love the fact that they'll walk in front of my table, and I can engage with them and talk to them. And the way conventions set up, it's, they have these queues, and, they send a person in, and, you get like however much time with them, and your autograph price is absolutely inflated.
Right.
I don't know. It's not really me. It's of course, if I was invited, I'd love to go. Japan would be absolutely amazing. I'm just hoping for a convention, in the East somewhere. I just think that'd be phenomenal.
Right. So now, James mentioned here, he brought up, and I think I remember this, but he said you did do one of the satellite events, the Boonta Eve.
Yeah, that was down at the celebration, or celebration in LA. So that was what, 2022?
Yeah. Because I think it was Chicago last year, and then LA the year before that.
Right. And so a group, the Virtual Cantina, invited me to their pre-party called Boonta Eve. And that was a lot of fun. I got to work with Misty down there, and a few other folks, and
right.
It's always just an amazing time. And
was that a live event, or was it a virtual event?
It was live. Yeah.
Okay.
they started their deal during COVID, so I think that's how it came up with virtual cantina, and they've just kind of left with it. So
Right. So what do you see? What do you see coming up for yourself in the next few years? Are you just kind of playing it by ear, or?
yeah, absolutely. I'm not chasing anything in particular. Um, I'd love to have an overseas trip next year. I think they're just so much fun. I've been to England now, and I've been to Germany. So I'd love to do a nice big show overseas somewhere.
Right. Do you get to do traveling in your own personal life other than for these things? Like, are you a big backpacker as it is, or?
Yeah, I think we do. Amy and I have a travel trailer, and we love to get away in that and do camping trips. We were just up at Tahoe a couple of weeks ago, and that was pretty exciting. It was like being on Endor with those bears around Tahoe. Holy smokes, they were just the fun. To me, growing up in national parks, it wasn't any big deal. They were just hungry,
Right.
But those bears were nuts. They would just they had no care in the world. They would come into the campground and they would totally
just everything.
Oh, they'd stand up on their back legs and totally on the sly check the door handle of a car or something. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. We had one neighbor that left their camper open and the bear went in there and was raiding the fridge.
Oh my god.
It's just comedy. I think it's you just have to.
They're so used to people.
Yeah, and it's learned behavior, right? They've learned it from their parents, and their parents learned it from their parents. It just gets passed on that this is a free food source. But yeah, right. Amy and I we travel quite a bit. We've always got some sort of trip planned, either big or small, local or far away. So yeah, we're always working on that.
That's excellent. Well, it will be good and exciting to see what you have coming up this year, whether it's just personal trips or getting out there to see more of your fans. You're personally one of my favorites. You were one of the first people that I met kind of in this area, and you came out to when we did our first KyberCon at our store, and I just absolutely love seeing you every time I go out and I happen to run into you.
It's so much fun, yeah.
I wear your cool Jawa shirt all the time, so I'm repping for you.
So do I. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's just such a magical experience, and I'm thrilled that Disney's picked it up and continued the legacy, and boy, I'm really enjoying the Ahsoka series.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, she thinks number one is the best anyway, so it's it's great. I'm glad it continues and moves forward, and Mandalorian brought Jawas back,
right,
which was absolutely phenomenal.
I remember I think it was episode 2 where he's fighting to get up the sand crawler or whatever. But
yeah,
I remember seeing those red-eyed Jawas.
Yeah.
Seeing those red-eyed Jawas and just being excited that that Filoni and Favreau were bringing back some of the the favorite characters, but kind of doing it with the new twist.
Right. And it's just pretty spectacular that they've increased our world, off of Tatooine, and so now we can show up, other places. But they're just doing an amazing job. I love watching Eric Voss and getting his breakdown on new rock stars of everything that I miss in those shows, because it's crazy.
That's very interesting for those that don't know or that weren't able to come out. We had Eric Voss was at KyberCon 3. Did you get it? Yeah. Did you know who he was before you went to that con, or was that your first time learning about
he's my go-to. Get all the cameos and Easter eggs and everything that I missed through all those series. His show is amazing.
Right. Did you guys get a chance to talk? I'm sure they would have been interested. Him and Tommy Bechtold was out there for that show as well. Did you guys get a chance to talk personally?
We did, yeah, we did. I told it was kind of a silly, like starstruck moment, but it tripped me out. I did your panel with Eric Voss,
right?
And sitting next to him, and like his voice is exactly like it is on YouTube,
right?
And it always trips me out because, like, if I listen to my own voice, I don't think I sound like myself. It's just kind of a funny thing. And when he was talking, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's like literally how you sound. That's amazing."
Right, right.
Yeah, super nice guys. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was an incredible con. Hopefully, you'll get to, when we do KyberCon 4, we'll get to have you back again. Have a whole
I hope it works out. So
you've been at all the ones that we've done, so we need to keep the ball rolling.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, Tim, I'm going to let you go. I'm sure you are tired, want to get some dinner in you after that double shift, but I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with us. We had planned on talking to you, I don't know, like 5-6 months ago, but you had things pop up in your life, so it's nice to finally get you back on.
Yeah, and I've been a little quiet on social media, and I mean you understand that, and
right.
With the family stuff that happened, but I'm slowly working back into that, and I'm around. So,
well, if you're wanting to do cons, James said that they've got a couple of shows for you next year. I'm sure he's talking about the Dave Hawthorne and his because he does Utah, Oregon, Nevada, and California now, and we will be going on that tour with them. So we can just have a whole Bay Area family go up.
Yeah, well, we've had so much fun at these different shows. We really do. And, like Capitola, it was just a blast hanging out with you guys right there,
right.
together. And so
I met Eric Walker at Capitola, who was in the Ewok Adventure movies. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, Eric's really cool too. Eric's a cool dude. He's he's become a great friend. And, again, Alan was down there, and then we got to meet some of those Mandalorian folks. So that was, and then all the Fets, like, good Lord, how many, there's like,
there were 4 of the 5. The only one that wasn't there was Tamora Morrison, who's, obviously the most famous of all the Fets right now.
Right. Yeah. I got to meet Jeremy Bullock in England.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a pretty special moment. At that time he was retired from conventions, but we had a nice conversation about it, and he just thought my story was absolutely amazing, and he's like, just have fun, do it for fun. So that's exactly what I'm doing.
Right. Well, you always seem to be having fun. Every time I'm around you, I always have a good time. Tim, thank you again so much for hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, I know you just worked a double, and I'm sure you want to get some rest, but we are always thankful to get to talk to you and to get to hang out with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You have yourself a good night, my friend. Get some
rest. Thank you. I will.
Yay, thank you, Tim. I was so excited. Oh, he didn't say his joke. Do you want to say it real quick, Tim? I can pop you back on. Say your joke.
Yeah. So watching Christian, I'm like, oh my goodness, Britney Spears needs to take lessons from that guy.
It was so funny, and it's funny that you mentioned, because for those of you who hadn't known, so Britney Spears posted an Instagram of her doing like this dance with knives, and apparently she was trying to I don't know the term, but Shakira apparently does that in concerts. And so she was trying to like copy her or dance like that or whatever. And I actually saw just today, someone took a video and inserted her into like a movie scene where bullets were flying at her and they were bouncing off of the knives.
Oh my God.
It was so good. So yeah, that's what I was snickering at before the interview. Yeah. I was like, Yeah.
Yeah, she needs lessons. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was it. Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Nice.
All right,
Tim.
Yes, that's
All
what I was
right.
giggling at beforehand. So thank you so much, Tim, for coming on. I was fortunate enough to meet him last February at KyberCon 3. That was a ton of fun, and I helped with that a little bit.
You helped with that a lot. And for those of you that enjoy our Star Wars celebrity interviews, we have another Star Wars celebrity coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. I can't quite remember, 2 or 3 weeks, but we have Kevin Edward Thompson coming up, who was an Ewok in the original Return of the Jedi. So
nice.
he will, and that'll be our first time talking to him. So I'm excited about that one too.
James was happy. Tim popped on. He's like, more Tim, I'll take it.
We'll take Tim anytime we can get Tim. He's a cool dude. And he's supposed to. He's got a metal detector too. He's got to come out to my house at some point. We're gonna go like digging through the earth.
Yeah, that sounds like I'm going to Santa Cruz and just walk the beach.
Yeah, right.
And just back and forth, and then you get. I've seen like when they have shovel the metal detectors, and they have like right where it goes off, and they use a little like metal detector for like more pinpoint accuracy, and there's like a little shovel where they kind of like scoop it up. That's got like holes in it sometimes and such, so to like get the sand out. Anyway, all right, so. And then James says, we are super blessed to be connected to an original cast member. So cool. Yes, we are. I am very fortunate to have joined so I could be a part of that in a sense. And like, if anyone ever lined up to see me at any kind of thing, I'd probably cry, even if it was just one person. Like, I'd be like, what? Like, because for me, I don't know if it makes sense for everyone else, but Tim has a great story he wants to tell. Let me just finish this real quick. One of my goals in life is just to make an impact and help people. And so like if just an impact of someone showing up and lining up for anything I've done would just make me cry. All right, here's Tim with a metal detection story.
All right. So my wife and I, we were camping up at Fort Bragg, which is Northern California on the coast, and had a campsite up there. And it's just, like Ark was saying, I just take my metal detector and swing. I'm a Jawa. Come on, it's all I do. I scavenge, right? So I was cruising around the campsite. Man, it's it's amazing what you find in those things. Just
really
like coin after coin. I actually found a gold and diamond ring when I was up there in the campsite. It wasn't worth like a lot, but it was just cool. It's cool finding that stuff. Man. And so. I had gone out into the dunes to kind of swing the metal detector out, and I just wasn't getting anything for a hit. And I was just walking along, kind of working my way back towards camp, and there was just one little blip. And I went back, and sure enough, and I dug down, and I dug up a penny, and it was a 1940 penny. And it didn't have a mint mark on it. So it didn't have the S for San Francisco, D for Denver. It just didn't have one on it. So I was like, well, that's kind of cool, So I put that in my special pocket and I worked my way back to camp. And the funny thing is, in that campground, there's a little tiny bit of cell service there. Just a little bit. But it's pretty sketchy. And so I showed my wife. She's like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool. You found a penny." And I was like, "Yeah, but it doesn't have a mint mark, and it's just beautiful condition."
Right.
And so we Googled it, and the first hit that comes up is $38,000.
Wow.
And then the froze. And we're like, "What? Wait, what?" We couldn't go.
That's almost like, did I just win the lottery? Kind of feeling.
Right. Like, and my wife's funny. She's like, okay, forget the diamond ring. Let's start looking for rare coins. Well, it turns out it's probably worth like $2 or something like that. But
it's still a cool find in general.
It's just funny. Like the first hit and only hit, because the cell reception was so bad, was $38,000 for this. Woo! So anyway, that's my funny story.
All right, thank you, Tim, for sharing. I really appreciate it. That's
we'll
fun.
talk to you
I have
later.
a really random metal detector question.
Oh,
Does the blip change depending on how close it is to the surface, like sensitivity?
oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was just curious.
And it changes by the type of metal too.
Oh, okay, that's really neat.
So like an aluminum can, just over, like, it freaks it out, like, because it's such a big receptive target. But I've found weird stuff, like I found a pure cube of tungsten buried in the ground. Yeah,
What's
just
the
really
coolest thing you've
bizarre.
ever found?
I think that penny's pretty cool so far.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
I found that pure cube of tungsten. I've found several pocket knives. Yeah, it's just fun, being a Jawa and scrounging around,
Jawa's
I
always
got a question
collector.
from James here saying if we want an autograph, can we message you on Instagram? He's also got a Facebook as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just if you search the social media for Cool Jawa, that's where I'm
Cool
at. I can be
Jawa.
found, and I do autographs through the mail. I'll do
And he's got
those.
fantastic t-shirts. If you guys haven't picked one up for yourself already, you need to get yourself a cool Jawa shirt.
Yeah, and to be honest, I probably won't make them again. So if you want one, it's probably going to be the last
limited
run of them.
supply.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. They don't sell very well. I've drug them all over the world now, and they just don't really sell. It's kind of a funny thing, but that's all right. I've got plenty for me to wear, and a few.
Like if one ever fades, you're like, oh, pop on.
That's exactly right. I came home the other day, and our black lab had surgery on her shoulder, and she's wearing one of my Cool Jawa shirts. I'm like,
that's so cute.
What the heck?
It's because my oldest is like that with shoes. He likes to get the same pair. So he's gotten the same pair twice. Like after one gets beat up or he's grown out, because he's almost my height now, and he wears like a size 10 in men's. But he was wearing flip-flops that he still had from Hawaii 2 years ago. And I just got back from Hawaii last night, and while we were there, he bought the exact same pair of flip-flops in his new size.
Dude, I wore the same pair of shoes for 10 years. Not the same pair, but I mean, I bought the same style for like 10 years.
I've worn the same
bought,
pair for
they were
10
black
years.
and white Doc Martens. But that was my style from like my 20s to my 30s.
What island did you go to? I love Hawaii.
Oh, Kauai.
Oh yeah.
I have family on the Big Island, and they my brother-in-law lives in the Big Island with his family, but he met us over in Kauai. We stayed on Poipu Beach at a vacation club
down on the south side. Yeah,
and it's absolutely beautiful. This is the third time I've been at this resort, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to go because my I have a family member who has a timeshare, and they take us. And if you don't know what a timeshare is, it's like you pay a fee, and every other year you own that condominium for like a week.
Right.
And so there's a 2-bedroom condo that we stayed at. And so you can buy food because you have a full kitchen and everything to make food with. And it's just a very nice, fun, relaxed place. My kids got to go bamboo pole fishing. And we went to Waimea Canyon. If you don't know what that is, it's called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. It's massive.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Waimea Canyon is massive like that. And like my son, who's 10, he just turned 10 a week ago, the day we left. And he said it looks like a 2D like matte painting because it's just so massive. Like your eyes can't really gauge the depth. James just at KyberCon 5 in Hawaii.
Right. And it's crazy too, because you'll see the helicopters fly through. Mm-hmm. And they're so small. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like even birds look like this big because they're so far away with how massive the place is. Wow. All right. So thank you so much, Tim, for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. We have someone that we know that also wants to get a Cool Jawa shirt. So I'll get information from you later on Facebook.
Excellent. That sounds great.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good night. All right. So
we're lucky. We know cool people.
Yeah, we know cool people, and he's the cool Jawas. All right. So moving on, guys. We've got Kevin Hogan, who is actually one of our producers on their show. He goes to conventions every week. He would have no idea how many there are actually in Northern California. It's insane. And he gives us a report every week and also tells you about upcoming ones. So enjoy this video from Kevin Hogan.
Hello, this is Kevin Hogan from Northern California with an episode of California Comic-Con Adventures. On the weekend of September 23rd through the 24th, 2023 was the Folsom Renaissance Fair 2023. This is a very large Renaissance fair that happens in Northern California. There's about 800 costume performers going around. There's Shakespearean era recreation of ye olde times England there. They have parades, pageants, lots of townsfolk reenactors walking around there, like pirates, knights in shining armor, and various others. There's all sorts of entertainment throughout the weekend going on there for all people to see there. There's like musicians, jugglers, there's like knights in armor on horseback doing jousting. There's even knights in armor doing like the armed combat in some areas there, and it's really impressive stuff there. They have about 80 vendors as merchants, and they're nice little tents there that are all decorated like it's a medieval era there, so you get to see all the different handcrafts and arts for sale there. So it's interesting to see all the different one-of-a-kind kind of stuff there. Some of it's like ceramics, clothing from the period style there, historic weapons, leather props there if you're interested in the cosplay and that kind of stuff there. So it's really interesting. If you ever get a chance to see the Folsom Renaissance Fair, definitely recommend checking out there. It's really interesting. Also, in that same weekend of September the 23rd through the 24th, 2023, was the first ever Lake Tahoe Comic-Con. That was at the Tahoe Blue Event Center. Lake Tahoe Comic-Con was a neat event there. We got to see several celebrities make an appearance. For example, Kevin Sorbo, you may recall from the Legend of Hercules series, and also several Star Wars actors. For example, Alan Fernandez, who's the last surviving Tusken Raider from Star Wars A New Hope. Even C. Andrew Nelson, who was Darth Vader in the Star Wars Special Edition series. And we even got to see other actors and voice actors, for example, Sam Jones, Sam De La Rosa, Mark Dodson, and others made appearances there. So it was really great for a first-time turnout there for a Comic-Con. Plus, they also had, of course, vendors for the vendor hall there, showing off interesting arts and crafts there and sports memorabilia. Plus, we got to see dozens and dozens of awesome fans show up there in wonderful cosplay creations that they made there. So it was really fun getting to see them walk around the event center in all their really awesome costumes. So we wish Lake Tahoe Comic-Con good fortune for future events there. And if you happen to be on the border of California and Nevada, definitely looking forward to checking out future events there for Lake Tahoe Comic-Con. Also on that same weekend, Ohana Comic-Con had a Comic-Con in Yuba City on September the 23rd, and then the next day on September 24th, they went over to Chico, California. Ohana Comic-Con, as you know, hosts Comic-Cons in a different city every weekend, traveling to a different city up and down the state of California there, hosting events usually in very economical places there, like Veterans Halls, Moose and Elks Lodges, often where there's free street parking nearby, which is convenient there. And if you print the flyer on Facebook, there's a $1 off coupon there you can bring with you, plus kids 10 and under are free, so that's convenient as well there. And it's a great chance in their vendor hall to see local artists there to say hello to in their vendor hall. And also, if you visit in the afternoon, usually around 2:30 is their cosplay contest, so you get to hang out with some local friends to see their cool costumes they made there and win some prizes. So whenever Ohana Comic-Con comes to a town near you, definitely recommend checking them out. Also on that Sunday, September 24th, 2023, was Citrus Heights Sunday Fun Day, and the Sacramento Spider-Verse cosplayer group got to go there and pay them a visit there and spread some cheer and fun there. The Citrus Heights hosts a Sunday Fun Day event there where they host several vendors and community outreach groups there in their park there over on Auburn Boulevard called Rush Park. And they get to see lots of different creative folks walking around there with different programs to help out the local community there. And plus, of course, the local Spider-Verse cosplayers were walking around taking pictures with families, making them happy there. And we got to see some other colorful characters like some local mascots there, even a Chinese dancing lion there too there. So it's always fun to see cosplay groups come together to help out with local charity events as well. And for everyone interested in upcoming events, definitely want to check out Ohana Comic-Con. That's going to be visiting the Hanford area on October the 8th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And for all of you Renaissance fans there, the Northern California Renaissance Fair, just a reminder, is still continuing every weekend now through October 22nd. That's weekends 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and every weekend has its own different theme going on there, so be sure to check that out in Hollister. And for those of you in the Sacramento area, on October the 14th, 2023, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the Sacramento Zombie Walk and Halloween Fair. That's going to be over at the Sunrise Mall, and the Zombie Walk itself, walking part, starts at 7 p.m., so be sure to check that out there. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the picks, and we'll see you out there at the next Comic-Con.
Thank you, Kevin Hogan, for that report. Lots of good information there. If you ever need to just...
That man's so busy.
Yes, he's like insanely busy. Oh gosh, it's Steven. For those who don't know, Steven, the manager at the Kyber Cave store, that is how Van and I got connected. He's a good friend of mine that I've known for, gosh, 7 or 8 years now, which is just crazy to think about. Guys, I want to remind you, down in the ticker below, you see kcpmerch.com. That is our merch store. We actually have, we got Beard in the Chair that is making a comeback with our friends, Forrest being back in Graveyard. They were together on the stream last week. And also, if you want to check out Debbie, go to Debbie and you want to use our code KCP2023, you know, like whether you are just waking up for a nerd out or staying up late gaming with us, stuck in your retro alcove for hours playing old games, or just tired from all your Saber fights, our sponsor, Debbie, is just for you. Has no calories, no sugar, no fillers, and no artificial flavors, and each serving has 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is equal to, 2 cups of coffee. And because it contains no factor, it delivers energy and focus with none of the jitters. So you can get 10% off on our code at w.gg and use the code 2023. We got Debbie, people. We got Debbie. When right before my trip, like a week before, Aubrey came over. We were recording something for Patreon that hopefully we haven't lost because of my USB drive going all boohoo on me. She took one. I gave her one to use. So I was like, here, go ahead and take one. It's okay. I have a couple of assigned here to show people. It comes in lots of different flavors. For example, this one is Jitterless Energy Blend. It contains coffee and fruit extract and stuff. So enjoy that. And if you guys don't know, Mezzo here is a brand ambassador for Nomad Trek Store. If you go to Nomad Trek Store, or you can Google it, you find them on Instagram, and you use my code METZOJD10, you get 10% off of your stuff there. That's a lot of gamer setup, decoration stuff. It's where I got my cat headphones, which I forgot to charge before my show. I was sad because I took the cord that I used to charge them with me to Hawaii and didn't put it back in, or I forgot to charge it. So that's what jet lag does to you. You just get all tired and forget things. Whoa, people in the background. Oh, yeah. There's people in the background at the store sometimes. Just how it is.
Yeah, that's right.
So I appreciate
Sundays I broadcast from the store, so
yes, most Sundays he does broadcast from the store because he's there working hard for the money. Oh, no, that wasn't the word. We got cat headphones, people, and even Frey got her cat headphones. Here's what they look like right here. They light up and they're lots of fun. And I forgot to charge them beforehand just to make sure that they were charged. These I knew were charged; they were still plugged in when I got home. I was like, oh, well, at least those are charged. I have some kind of headphones. All right, guys. Well, that is the end of our show. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for Tim Donaldson for coming as a guest. Thank you, James Kaiser and Kevin Hogan, our producers, for providing their segments. Very cool headphones and mic. Yes, my mic. I am trying to save towards a Shure mic that's like $400.
Wow.
But that is like one of those, I talk about my extra money going towards upgrading my setup and making things more enjoyable for viewers at home, like better sound quality for my voice. That is something I'm slowly saving up to. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to it unless I do something full time.
I have confidence.
It's on my saved list for possible future things. What number was this? What do you mean? What
Tonight
number was
162.
162. Yeah, tonight was 162. You can use Mark Hamill's autograph for that much. I know. And I do love that. That's really cool. But my focus is just upgrading my setup for myself and my viewers, both on KCP and on my main channel. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. Again, if you guys didn't hear at the beginning of the show, Mezzo here is starting her channel back up on Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/MezzoJD. Yes, it's pronounced Mezzo because it's Italian. I'm not Italian in any sense, but whatever. Anyway, so just go there. You can give me a follow, and you can turn on the notifications and just see when I stream Tuesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Check out our sister channel, Distance Nerding, wherever you get your podcast feeds. They're on YouTube. They're on all the social medias. They are our good friends, and they are all over the place. So, and in fact, a few of our hosts here on KCP are also on Distance Nerding. So
yes, Frago Graveyard and Forrest are all on Distance Nerding regularly. I just posted their link in the chat, so check that out. If you want to check out our other shows, all the links are all the description below has all the information on our shows below today's show notes. So anyway, have a good week. I'm glad to be back.
Yay! Right, Sunday or tomorrow on Retro Alcove. Take it easy, y'all.